All right, let's get right into it. For most of us, selling options is about making a little extra income, right? But what if you could take that simple idea and turn it into a powerful, self-funding system for building long-term wealth? Seriously, we're talking about building a machine, not just collecting a paycheck.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. That premium you collect when you sell a put, is it just pocket money that you end up spending? Or is it a brick you're using to build something massive, an empire even? The difference in that mindset is, well, it's everything.
And this lays it out perfectly. On the one hand, you have the dripping faucet. It's nice, you get a little cash, but it's just a trickle, it's temporary. On the other hand, you have a powerful engine, where every single drop of premium is fuel, getting reinvested to make the entire system bigger, stronger, and more valuable over time.
And that's exactly why we have to start thinking bigger than just income. You know, there's a fundamental problem with how most people trade options, and we're about to dig into a much, much more powerful way to do things. This right here, this is the trap. You sell a put, the cash hits your account, and then poof, it's gone. Used for bills, groceries, whatever. And meanwhile, your actual position in that asset you truly believe in, it isn't growing at all. You're just running in place.
Now, just let this quote sink in for a minute. Imagine you're dollar cost averaging into your favorite asset, buying more shares systematically. But the money to buy those shares isn't coming out of your bank account. It's coming directly from the market, from the premium other people are paying you. You are literally using their money to fund your long-term wealth.
So, how do we actually build this thing? Let's take a look at the blueprints. We're calling it the Perpetual Accumulation Engine. And this isn't just a clever trade setup. Nope. This is a complete system of financial engineering. So here's how the engine is designed. It uses two kinds of fuel. First, you get a massive injection of upfront cash by selling a long-term put. That's your ignition. Then you generate a steady, reliable stream of cash from selling short-term puts. And all of that money has one single purpose: to relentlessly buy more of the asset you believe in. And the process itself is a beautifully simple, repeatable loop. You sell the long-term put for that big upfront premium. You pair it with short-term puts for that constant cash flow. You use all that combined cash to accumulate more shares. And then you just repeat the short-term part over and over and over again, feeding the machine. Okay, let's look at this with a real example, using TSMC. These are the two gears of your engine. On the left, you've got a put option that's over 2 years out. Just look at that massive premium, over 10 grand. That's your long-term fuel. Then on the right, you've got the smaller gear, a put expiring in just 35 days. The premium's smaller for sure, but it's consistent. That's the short-term power that keeps everything turning. You see why you need both? One for the launch, the other for the long journey. All right, enough with the theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually build one of these engines. We're going to use the semiconductor giant TSMC for this walkthrough, and we'll start with about $28,000 in capital. Okay, here are the numbers. We sell that 30-month put, and boom, over $10,000 hits the account immediately. That's a huge boost right from the start. Then we pair it with the 35-day put, which brings in another $117 every month or so. Together, these premiums become the dedicated funding source for buying more TSMC. Now, the real beauty of this whole system is that it's designed to take emotion and guesswork completely out of the picture. You're not trying to predict what the market will do next. You're just operating a machine based on a set of rules, a machine designed to win over time through sheer probability. This right here is one of the most important rules. It's how you handle the risk of getting assigned on that short put. It's simple. You create a funding mechanism before it ever happens. You just place a standing order to sell 100 shares at the same strike price. The decision is already made. No panic, no second guessing. So the system is designed for both outcomes. If you get assigned, no problem. The cash from that share sale you pre-staged covers the purchase perfectly. It's a clean swap. But if you're not assigned, great! The option just expires worthless, and you use your reserves to buy back the shares. Either way, the system is stable, and you've collected that premium. This is so important. This strategy isn't a 50-50 coin flip. Think about a roulette wheel in a casino. The house always wins over the long run, right? Why? Because of those little green zero spots. They give the house a tiny statistical edge. While the premium you collect over and over, that's your edge, that's your zero. It tilts the long-term probabilities in your favor.
And what's really wild is that this strategy gives you the power of leverage without paying a single dime in interest. The premium you collect immediately increases your account's buying power. It's basically leverage that's being funded by the market itself, not a loan from your broker.
Of course, we have to talk about risk. For our TSMC example, the total notional exposure is $53,500. That number represents your maximum possible risk if both puts get assigned and the stock literally goes to zero. It's the absolute worst case scenario you have to be ready for. But when you actually look at the capital we have, including that big premium we collected, our effective leverage is only about 1.39 times. What that really means is we have a safety buffer of nearly 40% baked into the position from day one. The leverage is there, but it's manageable by design.
But what if there's a true market crash, a black swan event? The defense is simple, but it is non-negotiable. You have to have liquid reserves. Your emergency fund needs to be parked in something super stable, like a cash-equivalent ETF, ready to go. This is the firewall that protects your entire engine from getting blown up by a margin call in a crisis.
So let's zoom back out for a second. We've gone through the mechanics, the rules, and the risks. But the real power here is that this isn't just about one trade. This is a universal framework you can use to literally engineer your financial future.
And this chart just lays out the whole system beautifully. It's a perpetual DCA engine. It has leverage that's driven by premiums, so there's no interest. It has built-in protection against a black swan event. And once it's up and running, it's pretty low maintenance. It's a complete, passive system for accumulation.
And I really want you to hear this part. We use TSMC as an example, but you can swap in any asset you have deep long-term conviction in. You believe in the S&P 500? Use an ETF like VOO. You think NVIDIA is the future? Use that. Gold, even crypto. If it has an options market, you can build an engine around it.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. This is more than just another options strategy. It's a whole new way of thinking. A way to turn your conviction in an asset into a tangible, accumulating machine that works for you around the clock. The only question left is, what asset are you going to fuel your engine with?